Frustrating weekend for the Bats. The Tigers do drop 3 of 4 to Cleveland. However, Tarik Skubal gives them a ton of momentum to end the series and helps them avoid the sweep. We'll talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Monday, May 26th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen. Every single day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Welcome in, welcome all. Happy Monday, everybody. The Tigers did drop 3 of 4 to Cleveland over the weekend, but Tarik Skubal put together a career performance on Sunday to help the team avoid the sweep and to give them a little bit of momentum going into this series against the Giants. They lose Thursday 7-0, then lose 3-1 and 7-5 on Friday and Saturday, and then cap it off with a 5-0 win on Sunday. The team's record is now 34-20. Hi. Hello, everyone. Feels good to be back and talking to y'all. Heck of a week, but glad to be back in your ears and eyes, or whatever the heck the expression is. My first thought after this weekend really was just like way to salvage a win on Sunday, and shout out Tarik Skubal. That was again, that is probably going to go down as one of the best outings of his entire career when it's all said and done. I think more than anything, this weekend was just about the offense not being good enough. And the pitching was not perfect, outside of Tarik Skubal, who pretty much was. The pitching was not perfect. The defense had bad moments. The Zach McKinstry play on what was that, Thursday, Friday, whatever, was an atrocity, right? There was a lot of blame to go around here, and we'll kind of break that down and talk about it. The bullpen was not nearly as good as it has been for this team this season, but ultimately, any sort of offensive production in those first really 3 games, this series would have looked a lot different, and it would have changed pretty much everything. So the Tigers are still one of the best records in baseball. They are still first in the American League Central. They still have now a 4-game cushion over Cleveland, who at the time of this recording is in second, but I'm recording this, the Royals and I think it's Royals Twins, big series there for the AL Central. So we'll see, but it's still a 3 or 4 game cushion, depending. They are going to lose 3 games in a row at some point else going forward this season. I hate to break it to you. It's only May, y'all. They're going to drop 3 games in a row at some point the rest of the season. Again. And on top of that, Cleveland is good. It sucks. I hated it. Okay. I hate losing to Cleveland more than just about anybody. And obviously losing to any division opponent, period, nonetheless, the one that's kind of breathing down your neck, sucks. But just go beat San Francisco. You're still very much in the driver's seat. Turn your attention to the next series, as AJ and the coaching staff are really good about, and just go take this series against the Giants. We'll preview that at the end. What specifically went wrong this weekend? I'm going to start with an old friend, okay? Runners in scoring position. Now, they turned it around on Sunday about halfway through the game, a little bit earlier, maybe like a third of the way through the game. And they turned it around and had a really good, what was at the 4th inning. They were a lot of hits, even with 2 outs and runners in scoring position to get some RBIs. That was beautiful, okay? Cleveland, couple of errors, all by the pitcher. But that was obviously really good. Outside of that, okay, their stats with runners in scoring position going into that fourth inning. So the first 3 games all combined, plus the first 3 innings of the game on Sunday. They were 4 for 27 with runners in scoring position. That's like a 150, 160. I'm not good at math. Batting average. And on top of that, 3 of those 4 all came on Saturday. And you have like the Manfred runner, right? Like you have the scenario. They were really not good in clutch, high leverage situations at the plate. They had 1 total run, period, in any scenario, just in the first 2 games combined. And excluding extra innings on Saturday, the team scored 4 total runs in the first 3 games combined. Again, that's excluding the 2-run 10th inning with the Manfred runner and whatnot. So, like, the bullpen was not great, and I'll talk about that in a second, but you aren't going to win very many ball games with that level of offensive production. In regulation, as they would call it in like basketball or hockey, you had 4 runs in regulation in the first 3 games. That's really bad. This is way more about the offense than it is the bullpen, even though the bullpen's a big talking point among the fan base right now. Okay? Now, that being said, the bullpen wasn't very great, okay? So, like, it can be multiple people's fault, I guess is my point. The lack of swing and miss is a problem. We've been talking about it on this show since, like, December, January, okay? It continues to be a problem. And when you play a team like Cleveland that is so contact-oriented and so kind of built around just putting the ball in play, it's just not a recipe for success. And that kind of reared its ugly head all throughout this weekend. Obviously, then you have Tarik Skubal, who gets swings and misses whenever he wants, and the bullpen doesn't even throw a single pitch on Sunday, and it was a really good outing. But just a lot of balls in play. I think Saturday specifically was kind of the, pinnacle, the kind of the poster child for the lack of whiffs out of this bullpen. Cleveland just had a billion hits with 2 strikes. It was constantly, especially late in that ball game, 2-strike count, Cleveland with a hit. 2-strike count, Cleveland with a hit. 2-strike out, productive 2-strike count, productive out, right? That still was, led to a run scored. That just cannot happen consistently. And not everybody is Cleveland, right? Not everybody has Stephen Kwan and Jay Ram and like all these guys that are just so good at just putting the bat on the ball. That being said, this has been a problem all year, far before Cleveland. And I think that the point still stands despite the opponent. So that's something that has to improve. And I'm sure we'll talk about a lot more as the season goes along. And honestly, once we get closer to the trade deadline, and the Tigers are in a position to buy for the first time in the Scott Harris era, I think it's going to be a huge talking point of trying to target relievers that can get swing and miss, because Will Vest is really the only one that consistently doing it at this point. Let's talk about some more individuals. We've talked kind of big picture, right? The offense as a whole sucked. The bullpen as a whole, I don't think sucked. I really don't think it's I'm still of the camp that like it's not as bad as like some people are kind of making it out to be. I don't think this is like a disaster. The Tigers, I think, only have 2 losses all season in when they are winning after the 6th inning. Like the bullpen has done its job far more times than it hasn't. I still think this is a really good bullpen that I trust, but it's weekends like this where you realize they need a swing and miss guy in there. Okay, let's get to a break. And then, like I said, we'll talk about some more individual performances from the weekend. We'll do that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on all of the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. There's so much great action in the NBA right now, and NHL, baseball, obviously all the sports world. This is a great time of year for it. But this Final Four teams remaining in the NBA is absolutely electric. Tense moments. The crowd is into it. It is such fun basketball. The Eastern Conference is giving you just straight 90s vibes. The Western Conference is a little bit more new school and people, dogging on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It is absolutely electric. So get in on all of the action and more with FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up because you can head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if that wins, you will get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We, of course, will be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 against the San Francisco Giants, who come into town. I'm still salty about 2012, and I love beating the San Francisco Giants more than just about anything. Cleveland and St. Louis, kind of the other two that really, really fun to beat up on. The Tigers do not beat up on Cleveland this weekend. They dropped 3 of 4. We're talking about what went wrong still. Really sloppy baseball on Friday, which I can live with once in a blue moon just because it's not a reoccurring theme. That's not something that the team does a ton, but just some rough defense, some really poor errors. Someone just revved their engine like crazy right outside my window. So sorry if you heard that. Love living in the city, baby. So yeah, I just think maybe I said Friday. I think it was Thursday in general. Just really sloppy baseball. Riley Greene had a pretty rough weekend at the plate yet again. It's man, and I think that is probably maybe slightly unfair just because everybody at the plate outside of Gleyber Torres and maybe a couple other people we'll talk about here in a second, nearly everybody had a rough weekend. Again, the offense as a whole was brutal for 3.5 games. So it's not like it's Riley Greene's fault. It's just he's a guy that's in the middle of the lineup and has had just such a rocky roller coaster of a year where he's been really down and then really up and then really down. It's just been it's been such a roller coaster of kind of peaks and valleys that we're looking for him to just find his stride and be a consistent hitter, and that just still hasn't happened yet. And this weekend was relatively ugly for him at the plate. I think the biggest thing offensively, though, is lineup depth. That's something that this season the Tigers have received such great production from the bottom half of their lineup. And I think it's been one of the biggest reasons why the Tigers' offensive production has been so good, right? Torkelson's been awesome, and obviously that's a huge storyline. But Kerry Carpenter, Riley Greene, Gleyber Torres, we expected these guys to produce, right? And again, I'm not including Torkelson in that. Certainly did not expect him to look like he has. But even if you add him in there, that is a top half of the lineup that you kind of went into the year going, okay, this again, sans Torque, should produce. The bottom half, Trey Sweeney, Andy Ibanez, Justin Henry Malloy, Javi Baez, obviously probably more so than anybody, even for a little bit like Akil Badu over the last week. These are guys that just did not produce whatsoever this weekend, and that has been different from this season, and that is why you have 18 innings where you score 1 run. It's okay, it's been a nice situation where the guys you expect to produce, or when they don't produce, the guys at the bottom of the lineup have then picked up the slack. And this weekend, you just didn't have that. And again, that's really everybody. I guess I just kind of criticize the big hitters at the top of the lineup and the depth hitters when it's all said and done. So again, pretty much just reiterating, the entire lineup struggled, and the offense has been way better than expected this year and has been legitimately good. Not just better than expected. It has legitimately been one of the better offenses in the American League so far. this season. This is one series against a good team with good pitching. Their pitching had a horrible April. It's been a lot better lately. We will see how the bats look going forward, and we will see kind of where water sits, right? When it finds its level, where is that point of production? And I think that that's the biggest question, because I don't think it's as bad as it was for the first 3 games of this series consistently going forward. I also do not think that it's as good as it was for the first 5 weeks of the season over 162. So we just got to find out where that point is and find out the areas of weakness. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the show in stuff as well, with people coming back from injuries and whatnot. What went right this weekend? Let's just finally get to Tarik Skubal. It is awesome to be able to throw him out there when your team is on a losing streak, right? Your team drops 3 in a row. You're going, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. This is terrible. We're going to blow everything. And we're just going to completely collapse and be terrible. And then it's like, oh, right. 1 to 2 times a week, the best pitcher in baseball pitches for us. It's kind of, I don't want to say impossible, because that feels like a bad like omen to put out there, but like, it's very, very difficult for this team to go on super long losing streaks with Tarik Skubal in the rotation. That's just a fact. 102 miles an hour in the 7th inning, 103 to end the ball game. The final pitch of his outing was over 102 miles an hour. 9 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 13 strikeouts. He's a sicko. He's an absolute sicko. The changeup was incredible. You know, the broadcast Roku game, kind of a weird broadcast, but I like the fact that they had representation from both fan bases, and they seem to have pretty good chemistry, honestly. So I didn't hate I'll talk about the Roku game a little bit later too. I didn't hate the broadcast in terms of the personnel on the broadcast. They did a really great job of breaking down what makes Tarik Skubal so good early in games. He is just completely screwing with your timing. And early on, he is just throwing 101 up and in. And unless you're just sitting on it and like guessing that pitch, you can't catch up to it. And then as the game goes along, he starts throwing the changeup low and away, and your timing is just completely whack, and you're basically just guessing every single pitch on what he's going to throw. That's what it gets to, a point where you are literally just 100% guessing. Every pitch he throws, you just go, okay, well, I'm just going to sit here and hope that the ball is there, and if it's not, I'm kind of screwed. And every single hitter on Cleveland was screwed on Sunday. Really cool to see him get a little emotional after the game when asking about his family being there, his wife and child being at the game. Just absolutely awesome. The crowd getting into it. Like, the crowd erupted when he left the dugout and they realized he was going to go for the CG. It was just the Scoob chants. Like, he is, you can chant Tarik Skubal in the same cadence that people were chanting Jared Goff, by the way. Just going to throw that out there. It's the same amount of syllables. You can do it in the exact same cadence. Just a thought. He's unbelievable. And I hope that he is a Tiger for life. And that's obviously going to be a storyline going forward. We've already talked about it a lot, but I every day, I hope that he is locked down for the rest of his career. Also, shout out Dylan freaking Dingler. Okay. This is the first time that Jake Rogers has been healthy and not caught Tarik Skubal in like 2 calendar years. And Dingler goes out there and catches a complete game shutout with 13 Ks and no walks. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. And he has been hitting, which is why I think he's going to get more and more playing time, as we talked about kind of when he came back from the injury. Casey Mize back from injury as well. 5 innings, 4 hits, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. Only one of them earned. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 1 home run. Against was the 1 earned run. A 2.45 ERA. This was awesome. Just great to have him back. To have such a short stint on the IL, I think, is really encouraging. And for him to really look like he didn't miss a beat. Obviously, only 5 innings, not the most efficient outing, but also could have gone back out there, I think, if he wasn't coming off of the injured list. So, I expect, going forward, to him kind of have the leash off again and for him to just go business as usual. But he's unbelievable. And, Yeah, man. Like his splitter looked so good, and for him to have, you wouldn't have known watching this outing that he just missed 2 times through the rotation, right? Like just for him to go back out there and for him to establish that splitter and fastball and really look like he didn't miss a step was absolutely awesome. So good for him. Let's talk about a couple of the offensive bright spots over the course of these 4 games. We will do that right after this. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, Gleyber Torres was fantastic, especially on Saturday and Sunday. He's been such a great addition. We've talked about that a lot already this season. I'm sure we'll talk about it again going forward. He had 1 point this weekend where he reached base 8 consecutive plate appearances. That's absolutely incredible. I thought Spencer Torkelson had solid at-bats on Sunday. Maybe that's just recency bias because he had a couple of really nice at-bats on Sunday, but I just felt like he had 1 game where he went 1 for 4 with 3 Ks or something like that. And even that, like it's just, it is so nice to just be confident in him going forward. And for every time he steps in the batter's box, you think in the back of your mind, like, some runs could be scored here in one way, shape, or form. And I just think he looks like such a completely different hitter. On Sunday, especially, he had a fastball up and in that he was just so on time for it and just ripped down the left field line. That is something that Torkelson for the last 3 seasons just doesn't do. So I'm still so impressed by him, even if it maybe isn't the most like unbelievable stat line of the weekend. I'm so much more confident with him at the plate than I ever have been. And then Zach McKinstry with a homer on Sunday. Absolutely awesome. Let's talk stuff. Jackson Jobe started this weekend. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. His ERA is now 4.06 on the season. There's some people that if you would ask like how Jackson Jobe's been doing this year, they tell you that he was like the worst pitcher they've ever seen. His ERA is barely over 4. He's 1 good outing away from a sub-4 ERA a month and a half into his major league career. Like he's fine. He's fine. The Tigers are 8-1 now in games that he starts. He only gave up 2 earned runs in this outing. I thought the changeup was incredible and everything else was a mess. The command was brutal in this outing. Just completely had no clue where. I mean, I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, but it really did seem like 60% of his pitches, like he just didn't know where they were going. But that changeup is lethal. And once he gets the command down and once he gets the fastball established, it is going to be a magical ride. But that is still clearly a ways away from him putting that all together on a consistent basis. We see it in flashes. We see it for an outing or for a couple of innings or one time through the lineup or whatever. But that is just what we are still waiting on. And it'll come. Like it'll happen. He's good. He's really good. He's unbelievably talented. He will figure it out. He wants to be great. He has the best pitching coach in baseball, right next to him, kind of guiding him through this. He will be fine, and he has to work through this as part of development. It's just right now, it's just very all or nothing, kind of, is really the best way I can describe it at the moment. Matt Vierling, back happened last week. Obviously, I wasn't on the show last week, but Matt Vierling back, really nice addition to the lineup. I know his stat, first series, he wasn't unbelievable or anything, but just that production, even if he's just a league average hitter or a little bit better like last season, having that level of production replace, like Akil Baddoo or Jace Young or whoever you want to say that he's technically replacing, is just such a boost to, again, the depth of this lineup card. And it is really important for him to get going and be that guy that he was last year, because this lineup needs as much depth production as it possibly can get right now. And you're already kind of seeing him all over the field as well, which is something, we kind of talked about a little bit, I guess either the beginning of last week or the end of the week before, where it was kind of just like, everybody wants to talk about, is he going to play third? Is he going to play center? Whatever. Like, he played left field on Sunday. He played center field Where he played center field, left field, and third base all this weekend. Like he's going to be everywhere, man. Like he's going to be everywhere as AJ intends. It gets a chance for them to kind of limit Riley Greene's innings in the field. It kind of gives them a chance to play the matchups with Javi a little bit more selectively as well, who has cooled down a lot, which, I mean, kind of writing was on the wall there. He wasn't going to have a 900 OPS this year, but like still, he just allows a lot more versatility than the Tigers already had, and that's always a good thing for an AJ Hinch team. Speaking of other players that are hurt and we're waiting to get them back from injury, Parker Meadows' rehab assignment began last week. That is absolutely awesome. Now, he's one where his rehab assignment might take a while. I know back in the spring when the thought was, oh, he might just be out the first couple of weeks of the season, the thought was like, okay, his rehab assignment won't take very long. That's obviously not the case because he has missed so much time, including spring training, right? Like he didn't play in the last, whatever it was, 3-4 weeks of spring either. I'm like, he has to just get like, not even, oh, we got to make sure the injury's good. He's just got to get ramped back up into like the everyday grind of a baseball season. He missed his spring training when everybody else does that. So I'm not expecting him before June 1st and even, June 1st itself, a week from today or whatever that is, yesterday, whatever. Even the beginning of June is probably a little premature. I would imagine he's more of a, mid-June is kind of what people are looking at. So hopefully that is the case there. And then Winfield Perez, thankfully, is okay after getting hit by a pitch a couple of Fridays ago. And hopefully he's back relatively soon. I had mentioned when he first went down, I don't even know if he has a guaranteed spot on this roster. I think my opinion of that has changed pretty dramatically over the last week and a half. I think he absolutely does have a place on this roster. Again, you look at the production that guys like Trey Sweeney, Justin Henry Malloy is kind of I think the prime candidate, but even like Andy Ibanez's value, it comes from hitting left-handed pitching, and he has not been doing that as well outside of like 2 weeks in April this year. So there's a lot of options. I think Malloy is kind of the clubhouse leader right now to go down when Perez comes back, just because corner outfielder, he's better defensively and he's a switch hitter. But I think that, and he's a switch hitter that doesn't hit lefties very well, which is kind of frustrating, but we'll see how they kind of manage that situation. Hopefully Perez is back sooner rather than later. The Roku game on Sunday, it's so ridiculous that you have to have like 12 different subscriptions to watch every game over the course of a season now. It's so frustrating. We didn't realize how good we had it when it was just as simple as a cable package. It's beyond frustrating. I thought the personnel for the broadcast was fine. I liked it. In fact, I thought it was good analysis. Good. You have two legends of their respective field in the booth together. That's always going to go well. That being said, I mean, like once an inning, like it would just glitch out and you didn't get to watch, like you missed a pitch. Like it was just super staticky, and I don't know, man. Just I sound like, I'm in my mid-late 20s and I sound like I'm like the Simpsons, like old man yells at cloud, but golly, I'm tired of it. I really am. Shout out Jed Oliver coming in to the States and catching some Tigers baseball. Yeah, really cool for him to get some recognition there and for Tigers fans to do what they did to help get him into town. And hopefully the Tigers can win some more ball games. We were about to have a talk about him not attending the rest of his stay here based on the first few games went of his trip, but Skubal shines on Sunday, so maybe we'll let him back in the ballpark. But good bloke and good for him to be on this side of the world catching some Tigers baseball for the first time live. The Tigers play the Giants this week now. They kick off a 3-game series starting today. I really do think that the momentum in that finale matters. You drop 3 to a division rival, that blows, but for Skubal to go out there and like that in front of that crowd and everything like that, I really do think that matters a lot, and I'll gladly take it. The pitching matchups for the Giants, you have Hayden Birdsong against Cater Montero on Monday, Logan Webb versus Jack Flaherty on Tuesday, and Landon Raup against Jackson Jobe on Wednesday. I really think that the expectation pretty much, especially with your rotation, but really just with how the season has gone, should be to win every 3-game series you have. I think I'm going to go into, until proven otherwise, I'm going to go into every series, and the expectation for me when I watch this team is going to be go take 2 of 3. I don't care who's lined up across you. It could be the Dodgers. It could be the Rockies. Go take at least 2 out of 3. And I think that these pitching matchups kind of justify that expectation. San Francisco got up to a crazy hot start this year. They've kind of slowed down the last couple of weeks, especially. They've dropped a lot of series as of late, but are still playing good competitive baseball and still have a great record on the season. You're missing Robbie Ray, which is always a good thing, but I guess on the flip side, the Giants are missing Tarik Skubal, so I'm sure they're celebrating that. And like Birdsong's a guy, like Montero's obviously struggled, but Birdsong's a guy for the Giants where he has, which honestly, the fact that Montero's pitching makes the bullpen getting a day off on Sunday even more important. But Birdsong's just a guy that it was a great reliever for the Giants. Fantastic. Was setting the world on fire here so far this season. And I believe he only has one other start under his belt. It's either 1 or 2 this season where he started a game and went 5 innings of solid baseball. So like, this is a guy that has the talent to be really good. He's just in the process of kind of being stretched out into that starting role. He was getting, 1 inning and then 3 innings. And now, again, last outing got a start and got 5 innings. So we'll see. We'll see how the Tigers approach him. Go win a series. Go get a bounce back win. They've done that before. They've dropped series and came back out in the following series, kind of punched the other team in the mouth and had a really good performance. So I'm hoping that is the case today and the next 3 days. That's all I got. Kind of elephant in the room. I was gone for all of last week. I really greatly appreciate each and every one of you who kind of voiced their concern or reached out to me directly and kind of had well wishes and whatnot. One of my lifelong, known him since the first day of kindergarten. One of my best friends on the planet passed away very unexpectedly at the beginning of last week. And so I am very, very grateful for Jake Rietma for filling in for me and continuing to give you all, daily episodes and whatnot. I am seriously unbelievably grateful and forever indebted for that. Allowed me to, start the grieving process, but also be there for his family and whatnot in this unbelievably difficult week for them. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. He'd be pissed as heck at me for missing any time because he would have never wanted to be the reason that I was not on air and was so happy and glad to see this show in its current state. So I appreciate you all so unbelievably much, and I will be back tomorrow. I promise you. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.